Hi everyone! Today I would like to talk about the programming languages. Nowadays there are plenty of programming languages and they vary in many aspects. However, they can be categorized to different groups, and one of such groups are static languages and dynamic languages. So in static languages we have strongly typed variables, and these strongly typed variables are usually double-checked during the compilation time, and then a compiler would prepare some intermediate language code or a bytecode as a result, which then will be executed. So most often these languages, static languages, they have a compiler, so they are compilable languages. In case of the dynamic languages, the variable types do not need to be defined by developer, but they are identified during the runtime based on the values that are set. And those languages usually do not need a compiler. They have only interpreter and get interpreted without any compilation directly from the source code. And now let's imagine that you are waiting for guests and you decided to prepare a special dish for them. But if you are not very experienced preparing this type of dishes, you would probably start by finding a recipe and then checking for ingredients. And you will carefully prepare each of the ingredients and put aside so you can then be well prepared for cooking. But before you start cooking, you will go and double check if the amount of each ingredient is proper, if you cut all the vegetables properly, and so on. And this is quite similar to what compilation checks does for you. So they double check if you properly identified all the types of variables, and if you then try to, for example, set a wrong value to a variable, I don't know, string to integer or whatever, the compilation will fail. So you are more safe on the way. Moreover, when everything is prepared, then the execution or the cooking in case of in this case would go faster. So you don't need to look each time in the recipe. You don't need to pick up and cut vegetables. Everything is already prepared for cooking. You just go straight and to execution. But on the other side, you can do a different approach. Imagine if you are experienced and you have already cooked a dish like this. Then you don't need the recipe. You can go straight to cooking, and during cooking, you can, while boiling the water, you can cut vegetables, and while preparing, you can put some amount of salt, and then try if the dish tastes good, and then put more salt into it. So you have more flexibility. Maybe the execution is not as fast as if you would have all the ingredients prepared before, but you definitely save a lot of time in this preparation phase. You basically don't need it. You go straight and you start execution and you do things on the go, verifying them and adapting when you need. And this is similar to the dynamic languages. Imagine you are a student in the university and you decided to try programming the first time in your life. Then probably setting up Java or something like this would be too complex for you. And you don't need to go to production. You don't, if you are cooking and you don't wait for guests, you can fail. It's not a problem. Then a possible approach would be just to keep trying things, adapting just to understand how it works. Of course, at the end, your dish can be not in a good condition. It can taste not well, but if you don't have gas, you can just throw it at the end. But from the other side, imagine a different situation. If you are junior developer without too much experience and you need to participate in a production development, but you don't have any master of programming nearby. And such things happen in real life. Sometimes a team of junior developers can get a task to create some service, for example. And then what sometimes happens is that they take the simplest approach. They don't want to prepare their environment during the long time. They don't want to set up Java, Maven, Gradle, or whatever else. So it looks too complex for them, and they will go with a dynamic language. And this might lead to mistakes, because at the end they lose all the compilation checks, and if they are not experienced enough to properly control types by themselves, these possible mistakes, they will go to production. From the other side, think of a different situation when you need to prepare a dish which is very high quality, maybe like in restaurant which have stars. Then each time you prepare this dish, it should be on a high level of quality. It should not vary in how it tastes, and you should keep the bar high in general. And this is what happens, for example, to banking applications. It what happens to applications that might control some complex industrial systems. They need to be safe, and they need to be very, very reliable. In this case, it's worth to invest also in preparation, and basically you will end up using a static language. That's why such applications are often written on Java, on C#, on C++, and so on. And finally, when a dynamic language would be useful is when you need to develop some service or microservice. You are experienced enough, or you have a good team who will control everything, and but you want to be fast. So in this case, dynamic languages can be a good choice, because you can easily adapt. You don't need long setup, and the environments which run it are usually quite lightweight. They do not need some Java machines. The compilation is not needed during CI/CD process. So this is an easy approach in this case. Well, today I have talked about programming languages, and particularly about dynamic and static languages, and when each language can be used. Thanks for listening, and bye-bye.